Okay, welcome to the second half of KISS Community Connections at mykiss1031.com. And you know what? We're still talking about elections. Why? Because they're important, they're coming up, and we need to understand the dynamics of the game. Why I say game? Because it comes out to be a game. And the game is, can I fool you enough to vote for me? That's what it ends up being. And let's talk about, we're only going to talk about Texas. We're not going to go over the whole United States and all like that. But what I want to tell you is if you think Texas has lousy election turnouts, you're right. You are so right. But if you think regular numbers are small, just wait till you see what happens in the coming special elections. And we had some runoffs, and the runoffs this year ended up being for Texas. All the runoffs, the voting was still lousy. The turnout was still terrible. It wasn't what people thought it was going to be. It just didn't. And for the last presidential election, which is normally a high water mark for turnout in any state, Texas has 9.0 million voters. Texas has, 9 million people voted in the last election in Texas, but we have 15.1 million registered voters in Texas. I don't think those numbers even work. Not work, but those are terrible numbers to know that out of 15.1 million, only 9 million voted. So that sounds like we don't really care about voting. We need to up those numbers and change that. And how do we do it? Easy. After we register people to vote, we need to make sure that they get there to go vote. So let's do that. In Texas, we had a lot of runoff elections. And like I said, the voter turnout for those runoff elections was even low in Texas. So that meant that they didn't care. They did not care. Who needs to change that? We need to change that. Your legislators are not going to change it. They don't care. So, they care when it's election time, but when it's off time and not their time, they don't care about it. So we need to fix that. We need to do all we can. I do expect at the next few meetings of everybody, these organizations and fraternities, sororities, groups, car clubs, driving clubs, horse riding clubs, all these clubs and groups, I do expect for our meetings in August that we concentrate and we force, and I'm saying force, people to understand that while we do voter registration, let's do some voter education and let's do some motor education. Get these people to the vote polls. Now you do know we do have in Texas that number. The people who vote the most in Texas, are 55 and up. People 55 and up going to go vote. They're going to go vote. They're going to vote. They're going to vote regardless. They are going to vote. Your least people are your 35 and under because they don't see it, they don't get it, and because we keep using terms before they were born to get them to go vote. We tell them that people die for the right to vote. Okay, to them, okay, fine. All right, but if I tell them, guess what, the 35 and below who are mostly, a lot of them in college, that your tuition is going to go up if you don't vote for the state elections. Oh, well, now I'm talking. Wait a minute, hold up. My tuition going up? Really? The loans you get, the student loans that you get, they're going to start reducing them. Okay, now I got your attention. Now I'm telling you why you need to go vote. Now I'm giving you something. I'm not going to tell you that forefathers, they've been hearing that for 200 years. But I'm going to tell you that your tuition is going to go up because your legislators can agree with the universities and the colleges to raise them. Okay, well, now I got you. Student loans are going to go down because no one's going to be able to afford to give out student loans anymore because they're not. So that's going to be a cap on that. Now I got your attention. So now we need to talk. So I told you who's the most voted group, the least voting group, and the ones in the middle are the maybe so, maybe no people. So, which means is we know who we need to target. You're 55 and up, Yes, you do need to inform them. You really do. You need to inform them, but you don't have to push them. Those are the ones you might need to provide transportation for them to go vote. Or what you need to be doing right now today is finding out who in your area that are senior citizens that need a mail-in ballot. And even though it's too early to get that mail-in ballot, you might want to go see the senior citizens that will need a mail-in ballot so that when the time comes, you can sit with them and make sure they get their mail-in ballot. So you will help them a great deal. Go to some of the senior centers. Yes, I'm saying go to the senior centers, but see if they're eligible to vote. See if who needs a mail-in ballot. Keep their name, address, and go back and see them when it's time. Strategize the time. Go meet with them and say, hey, listen, here's the form that you need to fill out for your mail-in ballot. Here's the form. Here is, I don't even want you to have to go get the form. I want to give it to you. Here's the form. This is what you need to do, and take care of that for them. That's what you would need for that group. You're 55 and up. Some of them, like I said, you might not be able to drive to get there, so they need a mail-in ballot. Make sure they get it. The group from 54 down to 36, that's where we get our confusion voters at, and that's where we get our voters who are mad with this party and mad with that party, so they just don't vote. We need to recapture that group to say just because you got negativity on both sides, you got to pick the lesser of the two, and you still need to vote. So don't not vote because you don't like either one. Vote for one of them. I'm not saying parties, but vote for one of them because their issues could be something that you like and you are concerned with. So, though that voting group, now you're 30, I'll say you're 35 and under group, that least likely to vote because they don't see any issues that affect them directly until you guide them to the issues that would affect them. Right now we got the school shootings that are affecting them. So like I said before we went to break, you have groups of youth now that are going city to city, state to state, and they're rallying against gun violence, but they're targeting all the politicians who believe in, everybody got a right to carry a gun and all this other stuff, who want to come up with 50 other reasons to stop school violence other than regulating guns and how you can buy them. So they're targeting their group, which is the 35 and under. They're targeting their group issue-based, guns and violence in schools. So they're going place to place doing that. But we need to understand what that group is doing and what they're all about. You might disagree with the way they're doing it, but we need to understand what they're doing and why they're doing, and then assist them. You might assist them and let them know, hey, listen, this is also important too. Throw that on your back burner. But don't go back to the who died for right to vote. And I'm not saying leave that alone, but don't use that and then say, okay, you got it now. Because they're going to tell you no. And heck, I probably would tell you no because I know that already. Don't give me that. Give me something that pertains to me right now, right today, when I wake up every morning. Give me that. So let's raise our percentage of people who vote in Texas because, like I said, those numbers don't look good. They look really, really bad. It's like embarrassing it was embarrassing to read it, let alone saying it, that's what we do. And we need to talk voting every day. We talk about our president every day. We talk about all those other things every day. Well, let's talk about, if I want to disarm a president, if I need to take a president and disarm him, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take away all his little people. If I want to disarm you, I'm going to take away all your little people and replace them with people who are not afraid to stand up to you, who will say, you know what? Not today, bud. Not today. But that's how I disarm you. Those of you who are in the military, you know how to disarm the leader. Same strategy. Kids in school, you know how to disarm a teacher. You all know how to divert everything else. When the sub, I'll put it this way, when the sub comes in your room and you all get a plan together and enact it just to terrorize the sub, you disarmed her and took away all of her strength. We do the same thing when you vote. If you don't like what's going on at the top, change it, and change it. And like I said, if I take away your people that gives you the power that you have, I've just taken away your power. I've just changed the dynamics of how things are going to go. So the most important thing that we need to remember as we go into this voting time is we got the power to make a change. You got the power to make a change for the next couple of years. So if you don't like it, do something about it or be quiet. Just don't say nothing. Don't say anything. But don't be the one to say I didn't vote because I didn't like none of them there. No, that's not good enough, because you have no right to say nothing about anything at this point, because you agree with everything, and you're saying you agree with everything when you don't vote, because candidates either want you to vote for them or hopefully you don't vote at all. For real, if you're not going to vote for them, they all hope you don't vote. That's true. They hold a case and they count you out. And I told you how many people, registered voters, we have in Texas, and I told you how many people actually voted. So you see our turnout is terrible, which means, I guess if we had certain cities and certain counties that really turned out to vote, we could change the dynamics. Heck, in just Texas, forget the United States, we need to change the dynamics in Texas, and we can't even do that without just not voting and sitting at home or coming up with 50 million reasons to go vote. Also, we need to be careful about the gerrymandering that's going to happen. Somewhere in some town, Monday through Friday, they're going to tell you where you're going to, Monday through, I'll say Sunday, they're going to tell you where to go vote, and Monday night they're going to change the polls, the locations. They're just going to change them, and they've done that in small towns. And you know what happens? Those people go home. They don't come. They go home. They moved it. They changed it. I ain't voting. Well, you're not hurting them. You're hurting you, and you're hurting anybody else that you were gonna vote and help with. So when that happens, first of all, find a location that they change it to. Find it. Go vote. Then complain. Who do you complain to? Call the Department of Justice, the voting rights section. Call them. Call the Civil Rights Project. Call them. Hey, find me and tell me. Because I know who to call to get that fixed, But when they move it, you know why they moved it. So find it, go vote, and then complain. Don't complain and don't do anything, because then we all lose at that point. But when you complain after you went to that new place that they moved you to and vote. And also remember the rules. Remember, nobody can be within 100 feet to tell you how to vote. So we've had places where, I'm going to just say, where firemen were approaching people within 100 feet telling them how to go vote. That's illegal and can't be done, and don't let that happen to you. When it does, report it to the same people I just told you to. Department of Justice, Texas Civil Rights Project, and also again, you can find me and let me know, because we all know what to do. We all know who to call to get that fixed. But don't walk away and just don't vote. Don't walk away, and don't let the person who might be bullying you, don't let them bully you and tell you how to vote, because once you get in there, nobody knows how you're going to go vote. And also remember, you can take the proverbial cheat sheet. You can take a whole newspaper with you. You can take whatever you want to you in that poll to help you go vote, except for your cell phone. And I know a lot of people say my notes are on my cell phone, but you can't be talking on your cell phone while you're there, and you shouldn't be texting on your cell phone when you're there either, because that can lead to some things that we don't want to get to down the line. But most of all, what I'm stressing is that remember our superintendents and our principals, remember to let them know about our voting. Remember that Texas has 1.15 million voters and only 90 million voted. That's not good. That's not good. Like I said, that shows that Texas doesn't care. So we need to let our politicians who know these numbers, and they expect these numbers to stay the way they are, because that's helped keeping some of them in their seats. We need to let them know that it's time for us to shake it up. We're going to shake them up, shake them out, and we're going to get more of these people to go and vote. I want to thank you for listening to the show this morning as we talk about voting, and we're going to talk about it more because it's something that we need to do. And, if we've been paying attention to our political people, we see that some of them are losing their minds or have lost their minds, and we need to help them out a little bit. And what I mean help them out of office. And like I said, if you want to disarm a leader, take away their power, or take away your people that guard you, If I take all of them away, then I take away your power, and you must then at that time start making some positive changes for us instead of leading us to, we're going to have to put our children in and fight some war that they don't know nothing about. But I want to thank everyone for listening to KISS Community Connections at MyKISS 1031. And I want you to take the education that we just talked about. I want you to take it, put it to some use, and know that we're going to talk about it again. And, when I talk to the next person I talk to, we need to be talking about how we're going to get this done, how we're going to tackle this big monster that we have, what we're going to do about it. So like I said, once again, thank you for listening. And I want you to always remember, you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. We'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye now.